For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble, and thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. Happy Friday. It was a short week, but it seemed like a long week, didn't it? I gotta say, when we first started doing this show, now that's over 2 years ago, I guess, we didn't have the current events kind of chatter at the top of the show. We went into celebrity interviews. We had different segments with like cheapskate tips from my best-selling book. But over the last, I don't even know how many months, it seems like we kind of opened with this whole current events thing, what happened this week. And so, you know, we've got Tiger Woods DUI. We've got the Kathy Griffin Donald Trump beheading. We've got, like, just so many. We've got kerfuffle that Trump tweeted earlier in the week. So it's very bizarre, the stuff that goes on this week. Now, or in a week, because, I don't know next Friday when we're doing this show. I have no idea what will have transpired in the past 6-7 days, right? Like, that's so bizarre. So this segment is not scripted. I really I'm just going to kind of go on a rant or just give some thoughts about this whole, let's start with Kathy Griffin. People are outraged by it. I get it. I understand. She's a comedian. You know, she's with a photographer that does these controversial, artsy type photos, whatever you want to call them. She's been fired from CNN. She's not doing the New Year's Eve special with Anderson Cooper. She's lost not an endorsement deal, but an ad campaign for Squatty Potty, which I believe was on Shark Tank, if I'm not mistaken. There's a club or a casino or something that she was supposed to perform at that canceled her. So there's 2 points to this story. One is we live in this world where because you're outraged, people want you fired. And I think I've mentioned that before, at least on our radio show, that I disagree with you. I hate what you said. You should be fired, and I'm going to rally all of the advertisers to drop their ads during the show. We saw it with Bill Riley, right? It happened, and then he was subsequently fired. So this mob mentality that I don't like what you said, so I'm going to have to convince everybody else. I'm going to get everybody else to see it my way, and you're going to lose your job. I'm going to do everything I have in my power to get as many people to hate you so that you lose your job. Even though, as we always see on these debate shows, you can turn the channel. You don't have to watch Bill O'Reilly. You don't have to listen. You don't have to go to see Kathy Griffin in performance. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So there's so many other things to expend energy on, but people do that. So am I defending what she did? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is, all we've ever heard about is this whole First Amendment thing. Freedom of speech, freedom to say whatever, do whatever, express yourself. And right or wrong, whether beheading, decapitating a president is right or wrong, that's what she did. So that's one side of the coin, is you can't have it both ways, right? You either allow people to say their mind or speak their mind, make a statement, say whatever, do whatever, or you don't allow that, and everybody's got to feel the same way, think the same way, speak the same way, express themselves the same way. So those are the two debates. Now, I'm Canadian, so of course I can always look at this and go, you Americans are effed up. But it's in the bigger scheme of things, though, because I don't know if it's social media that's changed everything. I really don't know how this is all of a sudden unfolded. I get that now with Twitter and Facebook and all these different platforms that people have the opportunity to really express their opinions and drum up support. And strangers from all over the world, or friends in quotation marks, will back you and retweet your message and share it and like it and comment on it and share it with their friends and what have you. So it's very interesting that what happened to Kathy, who's a comedian, and she hasn't bitten her tongue with her feelings about Trump, right? She's been quite vocal. I think she's even told him to F off or something at one point. So she's outraged everybody, is what it seems. The irony being, Donald Trump has finally brought together a nation for their hatred of Kathy Griffin at this point, but everybody's speaking out about how it was a vile, disrespectful, sickening, how dare you do that to a president, whatever. And when you think about it, it was a Halloween mask, is from what I was told. A Halloween mask that she's holding up that just has blood on it. It's not like she actually had an actual head made and whatever. So again, I'm sure the intent was for her to go viral. She did. In this particular way, probably not. So was it a fail? I would say, but I don't know. Now, there is something to say about her posting a video a few hours later, wearing no makeup, looking haggard and really pathetically sorry, and maybe that was enough to win some people over and go, oh, okay, well, you know what, I do feel bad, she was trying to be funny or whatever. Well, there was really nothing funny about it. Like, I don't exactly, maybe if she was smiling and had a goofy look on her face, but she was serious, and so that's what kind of made it odd. Either way, the whole Kathy Griffin thing, send me your thoughts live at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com, because, yeah, I don't know. Again, like I said, you want to be able to express yourself, so then you go and do that, and that's what happens. You start to lose jobs, you start to lose business, and I don't know. I feel sad. Like I said, she wasn't right for doing it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning what she did. But at the same time, in a country that's fighting for First Amendment rights, you're able to speak your mind, you're able to do this, you can say what you feel, you can make a statement, but I guess that crosses the line. I guess holding up a Halloween mask with blood on it crosses the line. Would love to hear your thoughts. Send me an email, live at jbonair.com. Like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight, so you can disagree with me all you want. Do so respectfully, though. Don't call me names. I'm giving both sides of the coin. I'm not taking a firm stance on this. I'm not saying this is my position. She was wrong. I'm just saying I see how people view it that way. That's the safest way to go these days, rather than saying, this is my opinion. But I see it from both sides. Is it disgusting that she did that? Yes. Does it matter if it was a president? What if it was a 3-year-old child's head that she was holding? That's just as disgusting, wouldn't you say? But because it's a president, is that something different? What would be if it was Osama bin Laden's head or something like that? Would that be okay? There you go. Just some food for thought. Send me an email, live at jbonair.com.
Airfares go up and down more than planes themselves. Pricearazzi.travel has you covered when flight prices change on Expedia.com. If the prices drop, you'll be sure to know about it. There's already so much to remember when you travel, and you shouldn't have to worry about paying more than you needed to on your flights. Let Pricearazzi.travel keep an eye on that for you. Your biggest concern should be if you've packed enough money to buy all the trinkets you really don't need, or if your swimsuit shows off enough skin in all the right places, or that while you were away, the kids have enough food in the kennel and that the dogs get to school on time. Wait, flip those last two. Simply register your email address with Pricearazzi.travel and then book your flights on Expedia.com. Your itineraries are automatically sent to Pricearazzi, and you could do your happy dance if the flight becomes cheaper in 24 hours. Better yet, you could actually end up flying for free. And who doesn't love free, right? Find out how to save on your Expedia flights at Pricearazzi.travel. Avoid bank account turbulence and sign up now at Pricearazzi.travel.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Everybody loves dining out. Well, I do, just because I really don't care to cook. I justify it by saying I can't spend 45 minutes preparing something that's going to take me 5 minutes to eat. And not that I wolf down my food when I get it, but it just, I don't know. So to me, I prefer a restaurant. I can go, I can sit there, I can wait 15 minutes while my food is prepared and talk with somebody or have a drink or play on my phone or whatever it is and not have to worry about the cooking of it. And so And you remember as a kid that it always seemed like you waited an hour for food, right? You had no concept of it. It just seemed like it took forever. And now when you're growing up, you're like, oh no, it's like 15 minutes. Oh, okay, that was fast. So a few restaurant stories to tell you about right now. And if you're in the restaurant industry, I don't know, I apologize. I don't know, I'm really not bashing restaurants. I do have some opinions on things. First off, when you look at a restaurant's website or you check out do you check out their social media page and see what people have said about the restaurant before you go there? That's one thing. So there was a restaurant that we were going to for a family event that I'd heard of, but didn't really know the menu, didn't really know much about it. So I go onto onto their website, but also I went onto the Google, as my dad would say, and I saw that there was one review for the restaurant. It got 5 stars, but there was one review. Is that enough for you to make a decision about whether or not to try the restaurant? One review, 5 stars. It's a restaurant that's been open, by the way, for 30-some years. Now, that's not to say that social media and all that stuff was around back then, but in all this time that social media has been around, it has one review on, it was Google or Yelp or something. Whatever, when you searched on Google and it shows you. So I don't know if that's a Google search result or what it is. So that's one thing. And how many reviews would it take for you to decide that you're going to eat there? What if there were 20 reviews and half of them were bad? See, I always find it interesting when people post reviews because it makes me think you just had a bad experience there. Unless you're writing about every single restaurant that you go to, average social media user, then that's one thing. But people are likely to go on a rant about a place that they had a really bad experience about. So you might have had the one bad experience there, but were you in a bad mood that day? Did something happen that just pissed you off and you decided that you weren't going to be happy that day? Were you just wanting a free meal? Were you just going to do anything that you can to complain to get free stuff? See, that's one of those things that you have to take with a grain of salt. And it's no different than when you're buying a product online, because I could be looking for a new camera, let's say, or a new phone or whatever it is. And some people might rate it 1 because they had different expectations about the product than you would, right? I'm not getting the camera because it has a really good battery life, or it came with a strap or a case or a lens cap or something. That's not why I'm buying. I'm getting it for maybe will it connect to my phone and I can upload my pictures automatically? Or is it just a quick point and shoot and I don't have to worry about all the dials and features and things like that? Right? So I'm shopping for the camera for different features than maybe a professional photographer would be. So a restaurant review, you have different tastes. It could be that there was too much seasoning on the food and it tasted horrible and you didn't like it. Or maybe the music there was too bad. Or maybe your server was unattractive and you were hoping for somebody prettier. I don't know what the deal is. But, that's where you take it with a grain of salt. Yes, it got 1 star out of 5 by this person. But who are they? Did they use their real name? Did they go on a rant about superficial things? Was it about the taste of the food? What was it? So I went into this restaurant going, all right, well, I know that it seems to be like a local institution. It's been around for 30-some years. It's great. People love it. And it wouldn't have survived that long if it was a bad restaurant. That's ultimately what kind of guided me to go and say, okay, well, it's a good place. Because it's not a part of a big chain. It's not, anything like that. Bottom line is it's in downtown. It's renowned. I don't really know too much about it because it's Japanese food, and I don't necessarily eat Japanese food, but I just know it's got like legendary status in the community. And so to me, that was more telling than what I would have seen online, at least for that one review. So is the reputation the fact that it's 3 decades old and has been around? These days, businesses don't succeed if they're not well run, they don't have quality product, things like that. I'm not even going to get into like a whole Walmart thing and people bitching about the quality and, outsourcing of manufacturing and all that other stuff. What I'm saying is there was one review, and even if it was a bad review, you still go because, that was one person's experience. How many customers do they have every day that aren't going on rants on social media or anything like that? So there is a determining factor, though, when I do go to a restaurant. And I know people are going to say, okay, you're not talking about superficial, but being a writer and a former editor and all these things, I cannot tolerate typos. And so if I go and I look at your menu online, Mr. Restaurant Owner, and I see that you've got typos in your food, to me, I don't trust you. And it happened before where I had heard about a pizza place, and all of a sudden I get a flyer in the mail from them, and I was kind of like, oh my god, this is great. But one of the toppings, I don't remember if it was salami or something, I don't remember what it was, but it was a common name, so it's not like it was just an ingredient that maybe they didn't know how to spell. It was clearly wrong. I never ordered there. I would never order from there. If somebody else had ordered and maybe offered me a slice of pizza, I perhaps might consider it. But there's just something I don't trust about a restaurant that has a typo on the menu. Because if food is your specialty, you should know how to spell it. So I don't trust a restaurant that has a typo on the menu. That's just my thing. I don't know. I don't know why. I just feel that way. I do. I really do. It's no different than, if I were to be given, let's say, a safety lesson from something, and the English is not right. And I'm like, wait a second, you're telling me how to get out alive, and it's littered with spelling mistakes. That's a problem to me. So I don't trust a restaurant that has a typo in the menu. I just don't. I'm not sure why. I really don't. Proofread. Because if you can't spell salmon or teriyaki or something like that, I don't know. It just kind of makes you wonder. Now, I realize, though, that the people who type the menu might be completely different than the people cooking the food and working in the kitchen. I don't know. Just one of those things. That's how I am. Now, speaking of restaurants, this is the last bit of a rant about restaurants. Have you ever been taken out for dinner and you haven't really been given the option of where you want to go? What I'm saying is, and I'm not going to give the instance, but it has happened actually to me where people are going to take me out for my birthday, but I don't choose the restaurant. They choose that they're going to take me to such and such place. Without even asking, have you been there? Do you like the food? Would you eat anything on the menu? Not that I'm a super picky eater, but I'm not really daring when it comes to trying new foods. But the dinner is for you. It's about you, but it's a place that everybody else likes. Have you been in this situation before? I hope you have, then I'm not just an idiot going on this rant on my own. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. It's happened before, like in workplaces. Now it doesn't because I own the company, so we're going to have lunch where I want to have lunch. But in other workplaces or it might even be like your first day on the job and people kind of take you out to get to know you and it's like a welcome sort of thing. I've heard about that. Where somebody had said, my first day yesterday, yeah, we went to a sushi restaurant. And I'm sitting there going, you don't like sushi, though. Why would you go there? Oh, well, it's across from the office, and everybody likes it, so we went. And I said, well, did you say that you don't eat sushi, that you don't like that kind of food? Like, why would you put yourself through that? Well, no, I'm the new guy. I didn't want to seem picky and whatever. And it was fine. It was a great way to get to know them and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yes, but this was supposed to be about you, and you go to a restaurant where you wouldn't eat anything. Well, no, I did eat and blah, blah, blah. I said, here's the deal. When you go to a restaurant, people can tell if you don't like the food because you're eating it very slowly. You just seem different when you're eating something you don't like. So I don't know how much of a giveaway it was, but it's fairly obvious that you don't like what you're eating. So hopefully you're a good actor in that respect. But definitely speak up, right? Or no? Is it too ballsy? Is it too pushy? Is it too demanding to go and say, you know what, I actually don't like sushi. Can we go somewhere else? What would you do? Would love to hear your thoughts. live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
On the Scribble at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes, Jeremy Bradley here at the controls. You run into people all the time where you're not expecting it, right? You go to the grocery store, okay, that's one thing. Or you might be out at a concert and you happen to run into some friends there. Has it ever happened where you could be halfway across the country or maybe even the continent and you happen to run into a relative and you didn't even know they were going to be in town? Case in point. So my brother was in Florida at the beginning of April, and he said that he ran into some people that he used to know from back in the day. Okay, well, that's one thing. I ran into my cousin in California randomly. I was there for like 2 days, and she was there with her husband for a conference. And it's just crazy because you're sitting there going, all right, I would expect to see you at home in our city where we live. But we're randomly both across the continent in a different country the same day. Now, maybe you don't find that to be all that fluky, and I guess, things happen. But again, it's different. This is not like, oh, I ran into somebody I met or I went to school with years ago, and they happen to be at such and such place, and you're in the same city. This is, you're completely elsewhere, and you both just happen to be there the same day. For not the same reason, completely different stuff. But you're just there, and you're like, oh my god, am I really seeing you? Is this you? So it happened, though, that I was at the store. I was at Walmart when I was home the last weekend, and I'm going through the store, and I'm sitting there going, is that her at Walmart? Like, I just ran into you, in another country, and now here you're at Walmart. And so it actually wasn't her. But I had to do like a double and triple take. And then I'm this creep. I'm a very weird person like that. So I had to go and secretly take pictures of this woman because I'm like, nobody's going to believe this. Like, this is a dead ringer for my cousin. And I had to take pictures of her. And so I'm like not really following her around that she would have noticed it. And then she was also on her phone at the same time. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to pretend like I'm taking pictures. So I turn my phone on silent and I start snapping these pictures because you know how like if you take a picture, it'll sometimes make that sound. So my BlackBerry on silent won't make that noise. And then I'm also just kind of walking around and I'm holding up my phone. It's pretty obvious if you're taking pictures with your phone when you hold it out. You might be able to pass it off that, oh no, I'm taking this of myself. Really, I am. No, you're not. You're taking a picture of somebody else. You're a creep. But I had to in this case. And I want to go up to the woman and say, would you mind if I just take a couple pictures of you? Because you look like my cousin who I just ran into in California the other day. And it was quite funny. So when I sent the picture to my cousin and then my other, so her brother, my other cousin, and then my aunt, their mom, it was just like, oh my god, that is her. Like, we're talking same kind of ponytail, same color hair, same kind of hat that she wears, like everything. It was just crazy. But have you had that where you've actually thought it was somebody and then you go up to them and you start talking and then they look at you like, I don't know who the hell you are, right? I think that's happened to most of us. But this is like the ultimate where I was about to start laughing as I go up to her. I'm like, oh my god, you're here. And she'd be like, who the hell? I'd get pepper sprayed in the face is what would happen to me. I just know it. So it was crazy that you run into them in a completely other place. And then you're in your hometown. You're like, I just ran into you again. Be careful though, because it might not be that same person. It could be somebody that you don't know. And now has reported you to store security going, excuse me, this guy is following me around taking pictures of me. Anyway, would love to hear if this has ever happened to you. Please email me. I don't want to feel like I'm the only idiot who has these life experiences. Send me an email live@jbonair.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Here's an interesting story that was in the news that a politician in Canada wanted organ donation to be mandatory. So essentially you'd have to opt out if you didn't want the government cutting you up and harvesting your organs after you died. And I'm putting it in a very, very direct and blunt way, but that's essentially what the guy is trying to do. His name is Stephen Fletcher. He's from Manitoba. He is paralyzed. He's been in a wheelchair. And he wants the government, or wanted, he was proposing a bill to make it that rather than you having to sign an organ donor card or sign up on the province's website, that would just be assumed that they can do whatever they want with your body when you die. Now, I'm all for organ donation. I'm going to put that right out before I say anything else, because my mom and my aunt were one of the first kidney transplants where we lived in our hometown. So it was huge when my aunt was sick and she was going through cancer treatments and she was just very, very ill. My mom stepped up and donated a kidney. She was still alive at the time. And so it's interesting that we have that history now in our family. So when somebody needed a kidney, somebody needed a heart transplant, somebody needed this, somebody needed that we've had no problem stepping up and saying, we believe in organ donation, so we're going to do it. And we have. But you know how there's people that just don't feel like the government should have a say. We've heard about it with abortion, right? We've heard about it with a whole bunch of different things. It's my body. I'm going to do what I want. The government should just stay, well, out of it in a sense. But what do you think about that? So if the government goes and says, unless you tell us otherwise, we can do whatever we want with your body. Is that right? Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com, because I'm thinking that people here are just going to be defiant and say, you know what, I'm not going to be an organ donor just because the government is taking possession of my body. You know, that's the thing. It's the principle behind it, right? So again, like I said, we've got no problem with organ donation in our family. It's just expected that's what you do because it's the right thing and blah, 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 can help save lives. I'm of the mentality of once I'm dead, what do I need my heart and my kidney and my liver and all that stuff for? What do I need them for? I don't. And the least of my concerns is going to be that my body was cut up, because my body is actually dead and it stopped moving and breathing and everything like that. Yeah. So what do you think of that? Do you think that people would rebel and just say, you know what, I'm not going to donate because the government is controlling me and feels that it has the power over my body? Now, the interesting thing about this bill that the guy was trying to pass in the legislative body was not likely to get passed anyway. He says, for his part, that, you know, it's going to strike up a conversation, that it's going to get people talking and thinking about organ donation. But is the damage done at that point? Or are you just going to look at this guy and say, you know what, I don't trust what the government's going to do because they believe they can do whatever they want to my body. It is my body, not yours. Live@jbonair.com. What do you think about that? The government taking control of your body. Is that too Trumpish? Is that kind of... And I actually just did a Trump hand motion when I did that. I'm kind of making like the circle with my index finger and my thumb, and then I'm bouncing it, you know, like he does. Oh my God, I'm turning into Trump. How's my skin? I'm still white. Okay, I'm not orange. Phew, close call. Live@jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you very much, Larson. Yeah, I said at the top of the show, it's a short week. It was a holiday, Memorial Day on Monday, and Friday already. And sometimes when the weekend comes around, you just look forward to laying around and doing nothing, don't you? I find myself doing that quite a bit lately. I also tend to nap on the couch on a Sunday afternoon, even though it's super nice outside. I could be in the yard cleaning up, pulling weeds, cutting the grass, doing some yard work, whatever. I choose to stay indoors. And maybe you feel this way too. It seems like we're all so overworked these days. I am not one of those people that takes work home with me. I am not glued to my phone. If you read my book, Put Down Your Damn Phone Already, you know that I actually do limit my phone usage. I find it refreshing to be able to get rid of it. So if I can not have my phone with me, I'm not one of those people that takes it to meetings and has it on the table with me. And no, it is on my desk in my office and far away from me as much as possible. So that's what I like to do on the weekends, is just hide out from the world, not be glued on social media, not giving updates to everybody who I think cares what I'm doing, because, quite honestly, I don't have an inflated self-opinion of myself. I do not believe even that my closest of friends care to know what I'm doing every second of the day. I know they don't care how I'm spending my Saturday afternoon or my Sunday evening or whatever. If they want to know, they'll call, they'll ask, we'll hang out, we'll do something. But certainly the weekend is just kind of my time to escape and get away from everybody, because when you're in the type of role that I am, and it would be no different than somebody who, let's say, works in a restaurant. If you're a cook at a restaurant, unless that's your passion, which is cooking and food, the last thing you want to be doing when you get home is cooking. And so for me, I pay people to clean my house and do things like that, because when I've got my downtime, I don't want to spend 4 hours cleaning my house. I've got a big house. So that way, you know what? No, yeah, call me lazy if you want, but I also work damn hard, which makes me exhausted and look forward to the weekend, and then I can do my own thing. So I hope you're going to do your own thing this weekend. Feel free to give me a shout anytime. It is always awesome hearing from you. My email address is live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. And remember, live tweeting The Bachelorette Monday nights. Follow along at Jeremy D. Bradley. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,